Our story opens in the Grand Palace of Versailles, the center of King Louis XIV's reign. The year is 1685, and the Sun King rules with unparalleled splendor and authority. King Louis is obsessed with his legacy, power, and the notion of living forever. He knows that no matter how powerful he is, time will eventually catch up with him. In a secretive meeting in a dimly lit room, King Louis speaks with his loyal royal physician, Dr. Labarthe. Dr. Labarthe has been studying ancient texts and has discovered legends of a creature that can grant immortality.
Be catastrophic.
There is a possible solution. Investigating certain properties.
That's your solution.
The question is the king's mortality. This creature could hold the key.
A mermaid. These mythical beings are said to possess a life force that, if harnessed, can bestow eternal life upon a human. Convinced that this is the answer to his fears of death, King Louis commands a mission to capture one of these elusive mermaids. He selects Captain Yves de la Croix, a seasoned and courageous sea captain, to lead the expedition. Yves is given a crew and a ship to undertake this perilous journey across the vast and dangerous ocean. Captain Yves and his crew set sail from France, embarking on a journey that takes them far across the Atlantic Ocean. The voyage is challenging, filled with unpredictable storms, treacherous waters, and the ever-present danger of the sea. The crew faces many hardships. Captain Yves remains determined and focused on their goal. After months of searching and following clues from old maps and sailors' tales, the crew finally spots something extraordinary. In the deep, mysterious waters, they see a shimmering figure moving gracefully beneath the surface. It is the mermaid, a creature of stunning beauty and enchanting presence. Using a combination of skill and luck, they manage to capture the mermaid. She is bound with magical chains that prevent her from escaping or using her powers. The crew is both awed and fearful of the mermaid, as her hauntingly beautiful singing fills the ship, creating a sense of wonder and unease among the men. Meanwhile, in Versailles, life at the royal court continues in its usual lavish and extravagant manner. The palace is a hive of activity, filled with nobles, servants, and endless gossip. Among this opulence, Marie-Josèphe, a young woman raised in a convent, arrives at court. She has been brought to Versailles to serve the king as she was proven to be too stubborn to stay in the convent.
Marie-Josèphe!
She often caused trouble, and the nuns mostly locked her away in her dark room. Marie-Josèphe is intelligent, curious, and full of life. Her arrival at Versailles is a dramatic change from the quiet and simple life she knew in the convent. She is fascinated by the beauty and grandeur of the palace, but also overwhelmed by the complexities and intrigues of court life. During this time in the palace, she draws more closer to the king, who shows her the affection of a father to a daughter. During one grand event, King is amazed by her uniqueness and decides to show her how to dance. But the incident only made him remember his late wife, Marie-Josèphe's mother, whom she shared a striking resemblance. Marie-Josèphe was the daughter of the king, but she didn't know a secret that was concealed from her entire life. As Marie-Josèphe begins to navigate her new surroundings, Captain Yves returns to Versailles with the captured mermaid. The mermaid is hidden in a secret chamber within the palace, known only to a few trusted individuals. Dr. Labarthe begins his experiment, trying to unlock the secrets of the mermaid's life force to grant the king his desired immortality. One evening, while exploring the vast and intricate palace grounds, Marie-Josèphe hears a hauntingly beautiful melody. Drawn to the sound, she follows it to a secluded area of the palace and discovers the hidden chamber where the mermaid is kept. She is mesmerized by the mermaid's beauty and the sadness in her eyes. Marie-Josèphe feels an instant connection with the mermaid. She begins visiting her secretly, bringing food and speaking to her in gentle tones. Despite the language barrier, they form a bond. Marie-Josèphe learns to understand the mermaid's gestures and expressions, realizing that the creature is intelligent and compassionate. Similarly, she befriends Captain Yves, who understands the bond the young lady shares with the mermaid. With time, he too becomes fond of the two and allows their friendship. After Marie asked for the existence of the mermaid in the castle, she was told by Yves, who also had no clue about the true nature of the mermaid, that thing wanted the creature to use its power to save the people of France from their incurable sicknesses. That was what the very few who knew about the creature thought. However, deep down in the secret chambers of the palace, the truth was conceived from the many. As Marie-Josèphe spends more time with the mermaid, she becomes increasingly conflicted and wishes to set the mermaid free. During that same time, her bond with Captain Yves becomes stronger as the two realize they love each other. One day, as they embarked on a horse ride, Marie-Josèphe fell and broke her arm. Dr. Labarthe plans to amputate the arm, but the king stops him just in time and suggests to give it some time to heal.
The arm is badly broken. Afraid we're going to have to amputate.
He wants to take my arm.
Plans to amputate the arm, but the king stops him just in time and suggests to give it some time to heal. Captain Yves learns about the signal the Mermaid gave him whilst under the cage and instantly translated it, sneaking Marie-Josèphe to the mermaid, who span a form of golden light around her arm, giving her an instant healing. The next day, the king awakes to the sound of the most beautiful melody he has ever heard in his kingdom. And to his surprise, he finds out it was Marie-Josèphe playing the melody with the same arm that was to be amputated the previous day. After the music, she went into the king's chambers and pleaded with him to let the mermaid go as it wished and longed for her family. King Louis disapproved and reveals to her that he had been her father and only sent her away after Marie's mother, the love of his life, died right after giving birth to her.
You're my father.
Yes. But I am a terrible man. I have cared more for France than about you.
Why are you telling me this?
Because there are sacrifices you must make.
Her presence was needed in the palace so she can be given in hand to Lintillac.
We need money, child. The young Duke, Lantiac, when you marry him...
No, I won't marry that man.
Jean-Michel Lintillac was the son of a wealthy and dying baron. Lintillac is poised to inherit immense wealth and influence, making him an ideal candidate for the king's plans. The marriage would not only secure Lintillac's fortune for the crown, but also bind Marie-Josèphe to the king's will. The marriage was a calculated move to secure Lintillac's wealth and influence for the crown. Marie disagrees, but the king tells her it's not a wish, but for her to obey.
You don't have to agree, child. You have to obey.
Of course, Majesty.
Yves, on the other hand, discovered the truth about the fate of the mermaid and slipped the piece of paper under Marie-Josèphe's door. She learns about the king's plans to use the mermaid for his own gain, and her loyalty to her father wavers. Everything she knew had been a lie. The mermaid was not for the people of France. Marie-Josèphe's compassionate nature compels her to seek a way to save the mermaid from her tragic fate. She begins to understand the true cost of her father's obsession with immortality and the lengths he is willing to go to achieve it. After finding out the truth and confronting her father that day, King Louis told her to not question his wisdom and get dressed, as it was in fact her wedding that very day.
You cannot kill the mermaid. I won't let you.
You won't let me? Didn't the abbess teach you any manners?
Here is my...
You swim with her, you commune with her, she is your pet.
It's all but human. She feels her life just as we feel ours.
France needs a leader who can protect her.
This is ridiculous. This is murder.
Silence!
Silence to you, Father!
Your wedding is today.
That very day during her confrontation with the king was her wedding, and she was supposed to get dressed and prepare for the marriage. During her preparation, she had her plan. She sneaked out with Father Chaise, king's own priest whom he confessed every secret to and who also disapproved of the death of the mermaid. The plan was for her to dress in her gown, move out with the father like she wanted to make a confession in the temple, but take a different direction once outside and save the mermaid from the chamber. Once outside, dressed in her lavish gown, she headed towards the chamber for the mermaid, where she met Yves, who was disappointed that she was about to be married to Lintillac. However, after Marie told him she wouldn't dare settle for someone she did not love, hope rekindled in her broken heart realizing that the woman standing in front of her did own his heart.
She conveyed to me that you were her captor. Did you know you took her from her child? Then you owe her the right to return to whatever family she has left. I could never marry a man I do not love.
Everybody out. Take the men. Head for the ships and set sail at once for the cliffs on the Harp.
He decided to help the mermaid by Marie's request and ordered his guards to get his ship ready. They would sail north and drop the mermaid in her destination and continue with their lives as couples. Although Labarthe tried to stop them during the process, Marie defeated him by tying his leg to a rope, which dragged him to the deepest and darkest part of the pond, where he died of drowning. At the same time, Yves had been shot, but with the mermaid's power and her grand escape into the opening of the tunnel leads into the sea, she revived him as they swam towards the ship. At that same time, the king ordered his royal ships to intercept Yves and his men. As Marie escaped on a horse to join him, as she stood over the edge of the cliff looking at Yves and the mermaid, King and his guards approached, commanding her to return back to the castle and complete the marriage. By that time, Lintelak was left standing alone on the altar with no wife and no priest to bless his marriage. The marriage ceremony was eventually cancelled. Marie-Josèphe confronts her father, pleading with him to see reason and abandon his quest for immortality. She appeals to his humanity, reminding him of the cost of his ambition.
Father, you don't care about me.
Don't say that.
It's simple. We take the mermaid. She saves mine.
The king, torn between his fear of death and his love for his daughter, hesitated. She reminded King Louis of how terrible he had been as a father. He finally decided to let her go and explore her life with Yves. Similarly, the royal ships were signaled to abort their mission and return back to the shore of the castle. King Louis, having faced his greatest fear, learns to embrace the natural course of life, becomes a wiser and more benevolent ruler, leaving a legacy not of fear and obsession, but of wisdom and grace. Similarly, Marie-Josèphe was exploring the world with Yves, and this time they visited her friend, the mermaid, who took her to the underwater castle and introduced her to all her friends as the human that saved her life.